and welcome to the virtual Meet the Teacher. So, your child will be going up into Woodpeckers, into Year 2, and if anybody doesn't know, I'm Mrs Vincent. And luckily, Miss Simpson, the TA, is going to move up with us, so that will be nice for the children. Now I know that I've taught a lot of the older brothers and sisters, which is lovely, and also I've had the chance recently to teach some of the Year 1s already. So we'll be really ready to go by September, and they'll be used to me and I'll be used to them already. So just to let you know that on Thursdays, Mrs Morley, who you probably know as the Year 3 teacher, will be teaching Year 2. So as well as Maths and English, she's going to usually teach the children their science and music in the afternoon. And it goes without saying that if you have any messages for me, Mrs Morley will pass them on. And also if you have a message relating to a Thursday, then I'll pass the message on to Mrs Morley. I just want to say that we're all very aware that the children aren't beginning Year 2 with the same teaching experiences that they normally would. And we're also aware that the children have had a very confusing, worrying, or maybe even a frightening time over the last few months. So this year, even more than normal, their mental welfare and well-being will be even more important to us. However, it's obviously also essential that children make up for the lost ground. And so we'll be combining extra support for their mental and emotional well-being with really ambitious expectations and targets for their progress this year. Okay, in the morning, as you probably know, the Year 2s come in the same direction as they have in Year 1, round the left-hand side of the playground. They come in the side gate, and obviously you leave the children at the gate. However, at the end of the day, it's slightly different because the children come through the opposite side of the school, and they will wait on the red line until I see who's collecting them, and then I'll let them go. And as usual, if you are delayed picking them up, the children will go and wait in the office with Fiona. Okay, I'll just whiz through this because there isn't very much different. Here are the timings for the day in Year 2. There we go. Just to say, when it's your children's spelling day, and we'll mention spellings again later, I do come out onto the playground and bring them in a few minutes early to get their spellings done. So when you know when their spelling day is, it would be really great if they're on the playground nice and early so I can bring them in. And also, just to remind you that Maths does start at 8:50 on the dot. So if children are late and come in about 5 to 9 or 9 o'clock, they've already missed some really important teaching. And also they sometimes feel a bit embarrassed and upset about coming in late. So if you could manage to get them here on time, that would be brilliant. Okay, so this is our discovery curriculum, which is taught in the afternoons. And as I've said, science and music are going to be taught on Thursday by Mrs Morley. And these are the Year 2 discovery topics. Fire, Fire, a capital catastrophe, which is the Great Fire of London, which the children all love. And then Arctic Explorers, which might be a new one for you, but that's been really popular. So there's lots of science in there about animals, Arctic animals. And then in the summer term, our topic is superheroes, comic strips and beyond. So there's lots of art in that one. And that's the one that we haven't been able to teach this year, so I'm really looking forward to it. Okay, reading books will be changed weekly on a Monday. And after we've initially trained the Year 2 children, they are responsible for changing their own books. So they need to bring them in, be ready to change them, tick off when they return them, and tick the ones that they're taking. And we simply don't have time to keep reminding children if they don't change their books or they don't have their books on Monday when they need to change them. Books are only going to be changed if the home reading record has been written in. And they should receive 3 reading books at a time. And obviously our various assessments that we do in school will determine the books that are sent home. Until orange or turquoise, the children will bring home fully phonically decodable books. So they shouldn't receive books with phonic sounds in that they haven't actually been taught in the class. And this should accelerate their progress. Children will also be able to bring home a library or picture book from the classroom that they can share with you. And I always put some example comprehension questions in their reading record books that you can ask them when you're reading with them as well. So for homework, the expectation is that they will do regular reading, which you need to please write in their reading records every time you read. Initially, if you can read with the children the books that we send home from school, but obviously you can also read other books that you've got at home. The children receive 1 house point for reading 3 times a week, 2 house points for reading 5 times a week. And reading records will be checked by the teaching assistant, by Miss Simpson, on their spelling day. And you'll be notified in the reading record book every half term if your child's moved up a book band or whether there's a particular skill that they need to practice because it's holding them back a little bit at the moment. Spellings. Once the new term starts, then you'll be notified of your spelling days and how many spellings your child will be tested on. And as I've already said, on their spelling day, the children will be collected early from the playground and they need to have their yellow reading record books with them. If they don't have their reading record books, we won't know which words to test them on. Correctly spelt words are highlighted so you know which of the words to be learned for the next week. And scores will be written in the back of the reading diary so you can see how the children get on. House points are given when the majority or all the spellings are correctly spelt. And if your child is away on their spelling day, we will try and fit in their spelling tests sometime that week. Okay, I'm also going to set mathletics activities to practice the skills that are being learnt in the class. And there's the website for that. And you've also got the username and password stuck into the yellow reading records. And children receive a house point on Monday if they've done their mathletics task. And they can also go on Cheeky Rockstars and use the same username and password to practice their 2, 5 and 10 times tables, or they can use the same password to go on Dyslexia Gold to practice their spelling and reading. Takeaway homework. As you remember now, you just choose one activity from the takeaway menu linked to each term's topic. So it's one activity that you can spend a bit longer on. And then you just need to make sure that it's completed by the last week of term when we have our celebration week, and you'll be notified of which day, it's usually their spelling day, your child is going to bring in their takeaway homework, and we can all have a good proper look at it and spend a bit of time enjoying it. So, in addition to that, there will also be the weekly homework task, and this will either be a maths or English task, and they should be completed and stamped or stapled into the red homework books. And the activity will be similar to something that I've covered in school with them, so it shouldn't be completely new to them. Children need to remember to bring their homework books in on Monday. They're very good in year 2 at saying they haven't got them because their mums or dads didn't remind them, and I do tell them it's up to you to remember your homework book on a Monday. And then new homework will be given out on a Tuesday, and again the children will receive house points if they complete their homework. If children have found out facts for a topic, or written a story, or completed maths or artwork, or visited somewhere relevant to our topics, they can bring things in to show me for an extra house point. Unfortunately, due to time constraints, this is the only show and tell there is in year 2, so unfortunately children can't just bring in a toy that they want to share, we just don't have time for it. Okay, year 2 SATs. So the children will have SATs tests in reading, writing and maths, and these are just used to inform my teacher assessment. So they're not the be-all and the end-all because I'm assessing the children all year, and usually the tests they do, the papers they do, come out with the same result of my assessments. So the children will have some practice SATs, so they're used to the format, and the actual SATs happen over 1 week in May or June. And we always do a meeting, if you remember, if you've had a Year 2 child before, nearer the time, so we can talk about SATs nearer the time. Handwriting. In Year 2, I'm going to be demonstrating continuous cursive or joined handwriting, and I'm expecting the children to begin writing in this way during the year, both at school and in their homework books. We'll send a sample of the correct formation of the letters home in September, and English books and handwriting sheets will have tram lines in to assist with the correct letter formation. And if your child's struggling a little bit with handwriting, we can always send home a little bit of extra handwriting practice for them. Okay. Just quick reminders about PE kits and items of clothing. Please label everything. PE will be at least once a week. I think it's going to be on Tuesday. Please check that the children have t-shirts, shorts and plimsolls that fit in their bags. Jumpers and hats will be hung in the cloakroom along with the PE kits. And as you know, probably the Year 2 cloakroom is very small and people are walking past it all the time. So things will get lost if they're not named. Unnamed or unclaimed items will go in the lost property box, which is in the Year 2 cloakroom. So that one should be checked before the main school lost property box. Just a plea from me, please don't buy the children's shoes with laces until they can do them up themselves. And snacks and drinks. Children will still be provided with the free snack for morning break. If you want to send an alternative healthy snack, it must be in a named box, please. And children can obviously go to the water fountain at break times and or can have a bottle of water only in the class for lesson times. And again, please name their bottles so they don't get lost either, because sometimes they get left out on the playground. Okay, the class charter. Children will be involved in writing the class charter, so the class rules, in the first week of term. Team points will obviously be given for good learning behaviour in Year 2, and the children will be given their special monitor jobs, and these will change each half term. So, just the expectations for Year 2, there may be a few differences from Year 1. First of all, children will be expected to take care of their own possessions and find them at the end of the day. Children should choose appropriate times for the toilet, e.g. break times or when they're working at their tables, and not during lesson inputs when they're sitting on the carpet and I'm actually teaching them, as much as possible. Obviously we don't want accidents, so I'm not going to stop anyone from going, but they really need to begin to choose appropriate times to go to the loo. Obviously children should be setting a good example to Year 1 in reception in terms of their behaviour. I've already mentioned that the only show and tell is that's related to their learning. Year 2 will obviously take the main parts of the Christmas play, and I've already mentioned that they have SATs in the summer term. Okay, please let me know if you're available to help hear children read in the afternoons, or if you'd like to help in another way. Obviously things are a bit different at the moment. It may be that we're not allowed to have volunteer helpers in September, but we'll just see how that goes. But if you're interested in helping, please do let me know. And finally, if you ever have any questions or worries, please come and see me as soon as possible. Don't dwell on it. If your child's told you something that you don't like the sound of, please come and check whether it's accurate with me. Don't worry about it. I'm usually available at the end of the day, but if it's really urgent, please leave a message with Fiona, or you can speak to Mrs. Hallett at the gate. And I think that's all. So thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to seeing you soon.